Ooh, all right, there we are. And so if we could move to the next slide very briefly, please. Perfect. And so we're going to go just over a quick agenda for today. Thank you guys for joining us again. Just some introductions, and housekeeping rules. We're going to ask everyone to keep their mics off and their cameras off unless they're speaking, just to save bandwidth for everyone, all of you students on the line. We're going to go over what you need to know as far as what the fall may look like in a moment. Then we're going to do a program overview. Some of our biology professors and current students and alumni are on the line with us, so they'll be happy to talk to you about that, as well as the alumni and current students are going to give their perspective on how their biology experience was, and you will have the opportunity to talk with them over chat or at the end of our webinar presentation, as well as there's going to be a live Q&A session at the end where you can feel free to ask any questions that you may have to our biology department. There we are. And so introductions wise, to introduce myself, my name is Denise Wilson. I'm an enrollment advisor here at Acadia. I work out in Western Canada. So I help students usually from that region. As well, I am an Acadia alumni, proud alumni of 2018. And I'm going to allow everyone else to introduce themselves at the moment.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kirk Hillier. I am a professor in the biology department and one of the instructors for intro biology. So one of the first faces you'll see if you come to Acadia. And I do research on insects and all kinds of other fun things. So I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juan Carlos Lopez. I'm the instructor for the introductory biology lab. So when you come here, you will be spending time with me and a team of people who will help you through that first year.
Hi, I'm Glennis Gibson. I'm also a professor in biology, and like Kirk and Juan Carlos, I'm helping teach the fall term of first year, so I'll be seeing some of you in the fall in some way or another. I'm a developmental biologist, and I also work on marine organisms.
Hi there, I'm Hélène d'Entremont, and I teach, you'll see me in second year. So I teach labs for microbiology and cell biology, and I'm also the health science advisor at Acadia. So if you have any questions, we'll chat later about maybe some potential questions on course selection for health professions.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin. I'm a fourth year biology major. I'm currently working on my honors project, and this past year I was a TA for cell and molecular biology and micro, and hopefully I'll do that again in fourth year.
Hi everyone, my name is Riley Lockhart, and I just graduated from Acadia this year. I'm going to medical school at Dal in New Brunswick starting next year. And I was an intro TA and a second year TA when I was at Acadia.
Great. Thank you again to everyone on the line. And so just in the what you need to know section, I am going to address the elephant in the room. So in terms of COVID-19, our fall may look a bit different. For right now, we don't have all the answers, but we are actively looking at all possible scenarios. So we're going to be keeping students up to date. You'll be receiving updates as soon as we have them available. So we thank you all for your patience during that time. And so in the meanwhile, in order to stay up to the know, I would say you can check out our Instagram and all of our social medias, and as well your emails, because we're always going to be emailing students and keeping them up to date. As a reminder, this presentation is actually going to be recorded, just so you know, for housekeeping purposes, and it will be available on our website within 48 hours. So you can feel free to review it and you'll have all this information at your disposal. And our summer orientation will also be going virtual, so you'll be receiving more information about that later, just so you know. Now I'm going to hand it over to the more exciting people than myself, and our biology department will begin.
All right. So when you come to Acadia and to get a degree in biology, you will need to complete 120 hours of credits, and that means that you have to take about 40 courses. Of those 40 courses, 2/3 will be in sciences. And I'll explain a little bit more what that means. And then 1/3 of those courses will be in arts and professional studies. For a biology major, you have to complete what's called the biology core, right? And you will also have to complete the first year chemistry and stats course. While you are doing all that, you also complete about 4 courses in a single area, and that will be your minor. So this is just giving you a very general overview of what the entire thing is. But you know, more short term, you know, what would be the first and the second year? Well, the first year you will be taking intro bio, and that's biology 1113 and 1123 with the respective labs. And the same thing, you will be taking chemistry 1013 and 1023. So you will be taking those courses as your, you know, the minimum for that first year. And then you will need to add 3 other courses. And those courses will be the ones that will be completing your requirements in sciences and arts and professional studies. I'm getting some feedback. On the second year, you will be completing more biology courses. So that year, you will be doing plants and animal biodiversity. You will be doing micro and cell. All those courses in biology, which are part of called the biology core, come with labs, right? On that second year, usually you also complete the starts for the life sciences, that leaving you with 2 more electives each semester. So if I can please have the next slide. Can we please get, yeah, and click again. So what would happen on that first couple of years? I don't think it's running. There is a video that should be running. So if you use your imagination, you will see Elaine jumping, you know, through all those courses and getting there so quickly that you won't even notice. I think you can move on to the next. There she goes, slowly but surely. There we go. All right. So I will pass it over to Glenys, who will continue describing our program.
Hi, could I have the next slide, please? So this cartoon shows a little bit about what our overall program looks like. And before we get to that, I just want to back up a little bit and talk to you a little bit about an Acadia degree. So we offer what's called a liberal education, which is not a liberal arts education, but a liberal education is one that provides you with a really strong foundation in your core. So we sometimes think of that as the upright part of the T. And then the interdisciplinary perspectives that you really need to tackle global problems. And so if you think about COVID-19, I think you can all appreciate how important it is to have a really strong healthcare system, but it's also really important that those physicians know how to talk to business people and sociologists, politicians. Not that you're going to get a great deal of depth in those other disciplines, but you'll get enough depending on your electives. That means you can really bring all those perspectives together to tackle the big problems that we have today. And that feeds back into the biology program as well. So as Juan Carlos mentioned, first year you do organisms and their environment, and that gives you a strong foundation that feeds into the rest of the program. And those are our big classes. So we have about 120 students in a section. So big to us is small relative to DAL and a lot of other programs. And there's a lot of opportunities there to get to know your classmates, to get to know people in the lab. A lot of the faculty come in and talk to you in that first year as well. So you get to know a lot of people. And then in the second year core, there's certain courses you have to take, but they also feed into what we think about is core clusters of specialization. They're not really streams, but they're clusters of specialization. So if you're interested in health sciences, for example, you can take human anatomy and physiology, histology, which is study of tissues. That's what I teach. Developmental biology and human embryology courses I teach as well. So there's a really nice cluster there. There's also a strong emphasis on molecular biology, so genetics, genomics, upper level cell classes, ecology and the environment. So we have a whole group of courses in ecology, marine biology, aquatic ecology, estuaries and coasts, entomology, Arctic environment, plus a biodiversity cluster as well, mycology, which is mushrooms, and plant courses and eukaryotic biology, fish and fisheries, so a whole variety of different areas. And most of our students don't focus in one, but they'll have like a general interest in those courses. But if you want to be interested in ecology, for example, you're going to be a much better ecologist if you also take some physiology. It'll just make you a lot stronger when you enter your next career. A big part of our program is research. So there's opportunity to do research topics, which are one term, and you can do those over a couple of years, and honors in your 4th year if you're inclined to do that. There's a number of research-based courses as well, so DNA barcoding, microscopy, upper-level statistics. So there's a really strong opportunity for you to get those different skills as well. Next slide. And I think that takes us over to Kirk, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about some of the other experiences.
Okay, thanks, Glennis. Yeah, I'm basically going to build a little bit more on what Glennis had mentioned in terms of the Acadia biology experience and some of the different directions you can move in and opportunities that you have in Acadia biology. As Glennis had mentioned, we're a small institution. That gives you a lot of opportunities to actually work very closely with the professors, very closely with your peers, and engage in research and other activities that maybe you have less opportunities at a larger university. Next slide, please. Oh, actually, no, sorry, I've stepped on Helen's toes. Actually, Helen is up next.
That's okay, Kirk, you did a great introduction.
Great.
So continuing on with, I guess, what Glennis was saying to do with some of the streams, although we don't have a health science degree at Acadia, we do provide all the necessary courses that you might need to get into dentistry, for example. I have an example up on the screen here, medicine, optometry, pharmacy, etc. So first of all, you probably have an idea of what you'd like to do, and so you should go check out the requirements in specific schools that you're interested in. One of the things is, not always, but often it's recommended that you complete full course load every year. So that would be 5 courses per semester. There might be some exceptions, but in general, that's what you should aim for. I've highlighted some of the courses in asterisks that are covered by the MCAT, which is the standardized test for some of the schools to get into medicine. But I wanted to give you an example of dentistry at Dalhousie, for example, only because many of the medical schools don't have many requirements, but dentistry, optometry, pharmacy still have quite a few requirements. And so if you look on the left, you've got your credit hours. 6 credit hours means two semesters of courses. So intro biology with labs would be first semester and second semester. Intro chemistry. So when you register as a biology major, you get intro bio and intro chem. As Juan Carlos had mentioned, there's 3 courses remaining per semester, and then you can select what you want for prereqs. So often when you're getting your requirements to graduate, you can also fulfill the requirements to get into another program. For example, you could take both semesters of intro physics, maybe our English course or an arts course such as history, sociology, poli-sci. There's a philosophy, classic, any of the languages. And then below those humanities and social sciences, there's physiology, organic chemistry, biochemistry, and microbiology. Those courses are all offered in second year. You don't have to do them in second year, but so once you've done your 4 core courses in what Juan Carlos had mentioned, micro, cell, plant, and animal, you've got room to take some more courses that might help you get into, for example, dentistry. So you could take organic chemistry, microbiology is part of our core, and then biochemistry in second semester. This is just an example. I know there's a lot of information here. You can check it out later. But I just want to show you that in getting ready for dentistry, you're also preparing yourself for, let's say, med school backup plan. Yeah, I think this is enough information, but we can chat some more, and I'm always open for questions after this. If you have any questions, just send me an email. I think the next one might be Kirk.
Okay, I'll try again. Yeah, so as I had mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the other opportunities that are presented with an experience in Acadia biology. So I'll just jump to the next slide. That way I can make sure it's actually me. Yeah. So in addition to the basic coursework, which has been overviewed already, there are some unique opportunities that we have in Acadia biology. Helen's already talked quite a bit about the health sciences and concentrations that we can actually engage in depending on the coursework and course selections that you actually have, as Glennis had mentioned. So you can focus more on molecular biology if that's your bag. You can be more interested in ecology, the environment, biodiversity subjects. Acadia's had a long history of people doing research and educating in these areas. And you can do this through our standard programming, but there's also other opportunities that you can use to tailor your experience overall. So joining Acadia Biology, you're presented with opportunities to, as listed on this slide, engage in a double major. So we often have individuals in biology that pursue a double major between biology and kinesiology, biology and chemistry, biology and environmental science, or really any other subject. But those are common fields that people actually pursue within biology as well, if your interests happen to span multiple different disciplines. We have a very popular co-op program. Some would say it's one of the more accomplished programs in Canada as well for professional internships through the Acadia co-op program. It's run across campus. So it's not just in biology, but biology has had a great success with the placement of co-op students. So when I say co-op, it's not necessarily the same thing you've experienced in high school. Co-op means professional internship. So these are students that are actually assigned to a business or a government organization for a period of 4, 8, 12 months where they have a paid internship. They gain hard and soft skills with industry, and those are applied as credits directly within their program. And again, this has been a really popular program because it helps students get hard skills and experience that they wouldn't necessarily get with a pure academic experience. Now, if you still want to get experience but want to remain within Acadia as well, we have other opportunities as well. As Glennis mentioned, we have opportunities for term or course-long research topics courses. These are courses where you can basically test the waters. Somebody's getting away. We can test the waters of doing research without by working with professors in the department. Wow, he's fast. Okay, I have to hang on to that. And you know, you can choose the professors that are doing subjects that you're interested in. So it gives you a quick chance to actually engage in an independent research subject that you can actually take ownership on your own. As well, we have teaching assistantships, and maybe Riley or Caitlin can talk a bit about their experience as TAs. Again, working as a peer mentor and engaging, helping them the instruction of other students in your courses. And then finally, we have the honors program. And the honors program is really popular at Acadia. Basically, it's a year-long program where students engage in research through the summer and then continue to build a thesis throughout the year. This is something that they get to take ownership of at the end of the day, many of them publishing their theses and contributing to that broader body of research knowledge. Next slide, please. This guy was sitting still the entire time until I started talking. Sorry, next slide. Yeah, there we go. So this was something that actually Glennis provided, which is an exit survey based on the students from 2019. So on the lower part, we can actually see some of the activities that various students were engaged in. So this included engagement with the Biology Society, other clubs on campus, co-op education, as I mentioned, honors research, TA-ships, research topics, or other volunteer experiences, such as the SMILE program on campus, where students are paired with young children with disabilities. Oh, okay, I'm going to forget about that guy. Again, you also get a taste for the type of careers that you can pursue after your research experience at Acadia. You can engage in, work looking at the conservation of the environment, ecology-based careers, health sciences, very popular, research careers, science communication. So there's a wide breadth of things that you can explore after you leave Acadia, and we really look forward to hearing back from our alumni about their experiences at Acadia and how that's led to a career that they're finding fulfilling. And again, the last part of this figure on the lower right, my overall experience at Acadia was positive, and I'd recommend it to a friend. Well, it looks like things are going well. But again, I'll pass this along to Caitlin and Riley, who can maybe hopefully reaffirm some of the things that these slides are showing. So thanks.
So we wanted you to hear from people who have had this experience, and in doing so, we asked Caitlin and Riley to think about the time when they were prospective students. So this is when they were sitting, probably not in a webinar like we're sitting right now, but they were thinking about coming here, and we were wondering, if they could share with us why they chose to come to Acadia and why were they interested in biology. So you take your stab at it.
All right, so I can start with this one. So when I was deciding on a university and what I wanted to do after high school, I knew that I was interested in pursuing something in the health science field. And so I had looked at some different programs across the Maritimes at some different schools. And when I was touring schools, I was actually dead set on going to St. FX. And my mom convinced me that I should go look at Acadia because she had been there and she had said great things about it. And so I went to Acadia to check it out, and I just fell in love the first day that I went there. I found the town of Wolfville. Everyone that we met was so nice. I loved that the community was really involved around the school. The school was located right in Wolfville, and the Acadia campus. I'm not sure if you guys have had the opportunity to check it out yet, but it's really beautiful. Our meal hall sits on top of the hill, so you can look out at the ocean while you're eating at meal hall. And when I toured Acadia, one thing that I found that some of the other universities didn't have quite the same experience was the different residences that you can live in at Acadia. So I found that there was a really wide variety of options for many students based on what you were interested in. And the dorm rooms are really nice at Acadia, and they really have a strong sense of community. And so that was a really strong deciding factor that led me to choose Acadia.
Well, I had a pretty similar experience. My mom grew up in the Valley, and one summer, I think it was 10th grade in high school, she was like, you should see Acadia. You haven't seen any schools yet. So Acadia was actually the first school I ever saw. And it was in the middle of the summer, and I went to the visitor center to get my tour, and there was a sign right behind the door saying, "Welcome, Caitlin." And I was the only person on the tour, and I just got such special treatment. And that was the day that I knew I would be going to Acadia. I toured other schools in Ontario because that's where I'm from, but I knew I would always regret not going to Acadia. When I toured, the biology building was relatively new, and being someone who wanted to pursue health science like Riley, I thought that was a sign that Acadia was the right school for me.
Can we move to the next slide, please?
So I guess I'll ask Riley, what was your biggest surprise about Acadia and the biology program?
Well, for me, coming out of high school biology, I remember that when I got to Acadia, I was so confused that there were so many profs teaching different things in biology, because I thought that every biology prof just kind of did the same things, and I didn't realize that there were so many different subspecialties. And so that was something that was a big surprise for me, but something that's really valuable at Acadia. And like people have mentioned, with the small class sizes and the ability to connect with the professors, you really have the opportunity to dive into different fields that you may not even have heard about, and to work closely with your professors and really get to learn a lot about all the different specific areas that there are in biology. And so again, one of the other reasons why I chose biology was because I thought that it would be a nice, broad, basic understanding that would kind of allow me to find something that I was passionate about. And I think that's really true of Acadia, because there's a wide variety of things that you can get involved in the biology department.
Thanks. How about Caitlin?
Yeah, same thing. I knew I wanted to get a wide perspective on biology. And I was pleasantly surprised at how close-knit the whole biology department was. I remember being in first year waiting outside the lab for the first day of lab, and I looked down the hall and I noticed all of the third and fourth years just chatting together, and everyone looked like friends. They were all talking to their professors, and I just thought it was just the greatest environment. And that was a really pleasant surprise for my first day.
Good. It is a great environment.
It is, yeah.
Actually, I'm going to stay with you, Caitlin. Is there anything you wish you would have known, though?
Yes, I wish I'd known to introduce myself to my professor in first year. I didn't start talking to faculty until second year, really. I did talk to Juan Carlos during registration, but I wish I'd known that I should take advantage of office hours. I should talk to other biology people and talk to my professors, because it's such a unique experience at Acadia to be able to develop those relationships with your professors. So something I wish I'd known is to start that earlier in first year.
How about you, Riley?
Yeah, one thing that I wish that I had known looking back at first year is I was very serious about my school and trying to do the absolute best that I could at everything. But first year is really just a time to figure out how you learn best and figure out your study habits and build connections in your school. And so that's one recommendation that I would have for everyone, is just to really get as much as you can out of your first year, and not to stress that every decision is the end of the world. Things really end up working out. So just take in as many opportunities as you can.
Thanks. What's next?
Why don't we go back to Caitlin? Caitlin, what do you like most about your experience in biology?
I like how you can really pick and choose what topics you want to learn about. I've learned so much about so many cool things about biology, and what I love about Acadia is there's such a wide variety of biology subjects. And obviously the biggest thing is the people I've met, the friends I've made, the relationships I've developed. It's just a really great environment to meet people who share your love for biology. So that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, that sounds great. What about you, Riley?
Yeah, for me, I really valued Acadia based on the opportunities that you had to connect with other students who were in different places and pursuing different things. And so I can remember in my first and second year, I was able to get to know some of the upper year students at Acadia. And a lot of people who I've talked to now who have gone to other schools, they haven't really had the opportunity to connect with people who are a little bit ahead of them. And so for me, that guidance from the people who are a little bit older was really important. And so one of the exciting things that Acadia has, the Biology Society has a student peer mentorship program. And so that's an opportunity for first year students to be paired up with either a third or fourth year student. And it's just a way to make a connection in the biology department. And so you can just sign up for the program, and that way you have someone who you can go to who has been through the courses, can help you pick the courses, and can provide you with resources, help you talk about how they picked up what they want to do. And so it's really just helpful to have those connections in the biology department. And for me, I found that really valuable at Acadia.
Yeah, the Bio Society is great, the Student Society, and they work really closely with the faculty and helping us address gaps in the program and developing new initiatives. It's a really positive relationship, and the student voice carries a lot of weight. Kirk, do you want to ask the last question, or would you like me to?
Go right ahead, Glennis.
Okay, so let's go back to Caitlin. Do you have any wise words of advice for the group?
Yes, don't be afraid to try something new. I know I was afraid to apply for the biology program, the Bio Society, and I regret not doing that earlier. So that's definitely something I would say. Don't be afraid to talk to your professor. Don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask a question. At university, it's really a time to try new things. So I definitely recommend doing that, and I promise you won't regret it.
How about you, Riley?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. One of the things that I had the opportunity to do while I was at Acadia was I went on an exchange in Scotland for 4 years, or sorry, for 4 months. I was at Acadia for 4 years. But so I just went and lived in Scotland for 4 months, and I did just some biology classes, and I had the opportunity to see how things were done in a different part of the world. And I met a ton of people when I was there, and I had lots of opportunities to travel. And so for me, that was just a really exciting experience that I had at Acadia. And people had mentioned a little bit about the SMILE program earlier on. And that's another really amazing program that Acadia has. And so I think last year there were 400 volunteers who were involved in the SMILE program, and everyone gets to work one-on-one with an individual who sometimes they have special needs, or maybe they just come from a background where they're not as privileged. And so you just get to work one-on-one for a couple hours a week with an individual, and it's really just a great way to see how other people thrive and to help someone else excel. And so for me, it was just I love being able to get involved in all of those different things while I was at Acadia. And so yeah, I would recommend that you take every opportunity that you have and really enjoy your time while you're at Acadia.
Yeah, those are both really good points. And the SMILE program is unique to Acadia, and it's one of the saddest things, I think, is when the four students who've been working with somebody for 4 years finally have to leave their friend from SMILE. And that's one of the hardest things about leaving Acadia, because it's such a powerful relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all we have.
Yes, indeed. Thank you guys very much for everything that you'd said. And then for Riley and Caitlin, if I could ask you guys one more question. I do know that Acadia is in Wolfville, as we all know, and we do have some students on the line that may be from out of province or that may be international. And what would you tell them about the town of Wolfville? Like, what was your experience like being in Wolfville?
Caitlin, do you want to start this one off?
Yes, I'm thinking. It's such a nice town. That's the only way I can really put it. You walk down Main Street and you see a friend across the street and you wave to them. You're just going to the grocery store and you see a friend. It's just such a beautiful town as well. There are trails, there are local businesses run by local members of the community. There's the farmers market. Everything is just local, and you see friends everywhere. That's when I think of Wolfville, that's what I think of.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, Wolfville's just an amazing spot. Everyone is so kind and so willing to help you out if you need help. Like Caitlin mentioned, every Saturday morning there's a farmer's market in Wolfville where a lot of the students go to buy their groceries, and you can go for coffee or breakfast with your friends. And yeah, I really like outdoor activities, and so there's tons of hikes that you can do, and there's lots of great trails to run and bike on and be active. And everyone is just so supportive. It's really a true maritime province, and yeah, it's a really great spot.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you both. And so, yeah, so just to kind of close out our session, a copy of this presentation is going to be available within 48 hours on our website. You can definitely review it as well. If anyone has any questions, if you have any general enrollment or admissions related questions, myself and other of my colleagues will be willing to help you. You can email us at acadiaforyou@acadiau.ca. If you have specific questions about biology itself, you can email our general biology line, or Len on the line as well there. We'll be happy to answer your questions. So at this point, we are going to the live Q&A section of the presentation. So again, just a reminder for your housekeeping tips. There should be a raised hand button that is available to you. If it's not there, depending on what setting your Teams is on, you can actually just type your question on the chat box, and then we will answer your question there. And otherwise, as well, too, as a reminder, you can still email us here. So we're going to moderate that on a first come, first served basis. So I'm going to check the chat box as we speak, and definitely don't be shy if you have any questions at all. Here. Oh, perfect. We have a raised hand from Cameron. Cameron, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, okay. How many of your students get into the medical side of biology, like go on to med school or work with, yeah, kind of that kind of question?
Absolutely. Someone other than me?
I'm gonna try to answer that. It's a tough question. I'm gonna say a high percentage of our students get in, but let's say 80 to 90% of first year students come to see me on the first and second day because they all want to be doctors. But by third year, that has declined by quite a bit, maybe because they've changed their mind. They've found something they prefer. I don't know, they've changed their field. And so then the number of students that actually apply and get in is still high, but that number goes down because of how many students actually apply. So Glennis, we had a little chat about this. I think what we've come up with is sort of a 10% of the graduates of our graduates get in, which I would say I want to say like 75% of the students that qualify get in.
Yeah. But Ellen's right. We have a really good success rate. But one thing that makes it tricky is the average age to get into some med schools like Dal is 27, I think. Is that right? And so students apply and they don't get in, and then they reapply later and they do get in. But if they don't keep in touch with us, we don't necessarily know they've gone in. But we have a pretty good success rate. But Ellen's earlier point about the program being diverse, and so people often find out that there's something else they're really excited about. And so even though most of the first year class wants to be doctors, they discover other paths. And also medicine is vast. And so we have lots of students that go to vet school, dentistry, optometry, physiotherapy, all sorts of other routes. Or a number of my students have gone into health research. So I've got a student right now who's looking at stem cells and cartilage repair, doing research, and another one who's just started an honors project at an assisted reproductive therapies lab. So it's more than just being a doctor. There's lots of different opportunities that you can get. Does that answer your question, Cameron?
It does. It does. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cameron. Does anyone else have any questions? Vocalized or written?
I'm thinking I should mention, I want to add to some, it has nothing to do with med school particularly, but I would say, and I'm going to ask Caitlin and Riley to comment maybe, is one of the good parts about doing biology in our program is, although we have, let's say, 8 courses that you, 10, courses that you absolutely need to take, you have a lot of choice in what else you can pick for courses. And so while you're getting your courses for your degree, you're actually fulfilling requirements maybe for a school that you're interested in. And let's say you start out interested in med school, but then go, oh, I've actually got the requirements to get into dentistry, and I maybe want to do that instead. Or optometry, for example, has a lot of requirements, but in getting, organic chemistry, biochem, some anatomy and physiology that you might be interested in anyway, you're actually getting your requirements as you go along and get your requirements for your degree at the same time. So you can change your mind along the way without getting stuck in a corner somewhere and not being able to get into a different program. Is that true, Caitlin, Riley?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And one other thing about people who are potentially interested in pre-medical things is that Acadia does have a pre-medical society as well. And there's lots of opportunities where they bring in med students or physicians to talk a little bit about their journey to medicine. And so for me, it was helpful to be able to talk to some of those people as I wrote my MCAT and applied to medicine and have some of their support. So there are a lot of connections that you can have at Acadia if you're interested in applying to medicine and thinking about following those healthcare routes, whether it be physio or pharmacy or optometry. there's a lot of information sessions for all of those things.
Mm-hmm. I think in my second year, I knew I was going to write the MCAT that summer, and I believe it was the Pre-Health Society that hosted a mock MCAT for free. So any student could sign up. They did the same for the LSAT. So that's a resource the Acadia students make sure to provide for pre-health and pre-law students. And that was really helpful.
Thanks.
Yeah, that actually definitely sounds incredible. So glad you guys got that opportunity. I do see a raised hand in the group. So if you'd like to go ahead and vocalize your question, is it Shawayam? I apologize if I'm butchering that, but you can go ahead. If you're trying to speak, you may be muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Hi. Given the current situation, do you think the fall term will be online or in person? Just about that, COVID-19 and.
Yep. So at this point, we're actually still making our decision. We're just looking at all possible scenarios, just really trying to make the best decision for everyone involved. So we do really hope to have a decision soon. So again, definitely our social media and our website would be the best place to keep in contact with that, keep in touch with that.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Oh, and we have a question here from Emily. Emily asks, how was the transition between high school and university? I think Riley and Caitlin, you guys are well suited to answer that.
Yeah, so I can start on that one. I don't mind. So for me, I found that university was a lot more work. I didn't necessarily think that the material was that much harder, but there was definitely a much bigger quantity of work to do. So it was really important for me to stay on top of the work and make sure that I established good study habits early on. But I think as long as you're a conscientious student and you're actively trying to stay on top of the work, it's definitely a very manageable transition.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I participated in the IB program in high school, and the curriculum is based off of first-year university courses. So in terms of the curriculum, like Riley said, it's pretty easy to transition into. What I found really exciting was the more independence you get. You get to choose how you do your work and what classes you go to. You should go to all of them, but I thought the independence was a really nice change from high school. In terms of the curriculum though, good time management can breeze you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely found that to be true when I was a student. So thanks for that question, Emily. Once again, I'm just going to see if we have another question. If not, I am going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank everyone on the line for your time and for helping out our students. The webinar's been great, I feel, and thank you guys so much, pretty much for your time. So thank you guys for being on the line, and do stay in contact with us. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email us. We're just an email away. So thank you guys very much, and have a great day.